I haven't made a video in ages, but I was getting this thoughts about making a video tonight on pain and on my childhood. And when I was younger, I used to get hit a lot at home by three people, and the fight. Sorry, kittens. And the three people would, yeah, and then I'd to school, these older kids would beat me up. And it got so bad that I got scared of trying anything. It seemed like everything I did, everyone was correcting me or telling me off, so I got scared to do anything. And when it came to sports and that, I'd try, and because everyone was so used to me being the dummy, I'd get abused every time I played, so I got scared of sports, and I get scared of anything, basically, of trying things, and it worried me a lot. And so when I got hurt through various times of my life, I came up with ways to combat pain. But as an older person, I finally, when I took up sports like cycling, I'd go all the way out to the bush and countryside in the bush. And if I came off my bike, I'd hit the ground, I'd hit the road and rip up the side of my leg, blood coming out and stones embedded in my leg, sort of thing. And I have no choice because back then there was no cell phones. And so I'd just get back on my bike and cycle all the way back to Tokoroa and back home and then clean up the mess. Because I was always afraid of infections. I knew a woman who got a pebble in her foot and she kept ignoring it. It was getting sore and she just left it. And then eventually she had to have her leg cut off from the knee. She got gangrene. So I always thought, no, you clean it out. So when I'd get home, I'd get in the shower and then I'd get my fingers and my fingernails and I'd scrub the cuts and everything out, clean it, get the stones out and anything that could cause an infection. And in doing that, that was very painful. So the original accident was very painful. And then cleaning it out was very painful. If I cut my arm or anything like that, I'd clean it properly. And I got used to pain, yet 20 years earlier, if I got pain, I'd cry a lot. And so I remember Dad, can't remember what he did. I remember he used to call me a sookie and stuff like that. And I remember he did something and he hurt himself. And I was amazed he wasn't in pain like I would. I would have cried immediately. And Dad just looked at it and goes, oh, yeah, and he carried on working. And I was like, wow. And I thought, I want to be like that. I don't want to be a baby all the time. And at school, I was always called a sucky babe, a girl, a loser, and all that sort of stuff. And so pain became, I'm now at the stage where, like, when you reach 50 or 40s, you can get a lot of pain. What are you cats doing? I think they got up on the bench. Oi, get out! Anyway, I'm not going to get mice here. Not with these little rascals running around. So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, when you get to a certain age, you get a lot of pain, and you learn to live with it. I've talked to a lot of people over 50, and they're in pain all the time. They get pains in their knees, they get pains in their arms, and they let the pain stop them from being active, which is the worst thing you can do, because you need to keep your body, the fluid running, your energy going, and even if it hurts, you just keep doing it. And when you're younger, I've noticed with people who've had really rough lives, when they're older, people think they're scared of fighting and because they don't deal with it. But I've noticed that the people who are younger, who have had good lives. They've been abused as children physically, and they've had easy lives. They think they're tough, but they have no idea what it feels like to be in real pain. And we can all reach different levels of pain and understand it and deal with it. So if you have to, over there when the father and the child went up the pile of flames, and the father knew the child had been in where the flames were a couple of seconds earlier, happened in Australia. He turned away, heard a whoosh sound. He turned back, and the child was gone, but there was this big pillar of flame in the I think it was his kitchen, and he just guessed the kid was there, and he just reached into the flames, put his arms around a loop, and hauled out, pulled the kid out. The child had was completely singed, and I think he lost most of all its facial hair and everything. But if he hadn't had left it any longer, the child would have got lung damage and everything. And it all happened in like a second or so. But the point is he wasn't scared about getting burned. He knew when he put his arms in there, he was going to get hurt. And he knew it was going to hurt, and it could hurt for days, weeks. But he had to get his child out. And the point here with pain is, if there is a need for the pain, and you have to get through the pain to get somewhere to do something, then you get through the pain. It's just all you do. And it's the people that are afraid of doing that limit their lives, they limit their happiness, they limit their, I know it's a sexual thing, where if they've had accidents and stuff later on, they refuse to, they're too scared to have females the first time, because they're scared of pain, and they try to avoid pain at all times. But there's just, in other parts of your life, say you're scared to do a sport because you've had a previous injury and you don't want to coming back, then you limit your life. I had a knee operation because I was in a lot of agony, but I kept walking and cycling after it. I could have stopped and said, no, I've had my operation. I'm not going to be, I'm too scared of that happening again. I'm too frightened. I'm not going to let that happen again. So the thing here is sometimes we have to get over things, get past things, we have to deal with them, and their life gets so much better. But it can't happen until we do it. Sometimes you're just going to have to suffer pain. It's a physical world. And I'll tell you something that happened to me recently. Oh my gosh, did it hurt. I put a rake out here next to I've got an old freezer outside with wood in it. And it was tucked in, but I didn't realise it was there. And I put it in there like 2-3 weeks earlier. And I stood down to do something, and I bent my head forward, and the rake came up, and it smacked me down here, I think it was. And I was just like this, holding my head for about, must have been 2-3 minutes. I was in so much pain. It was the perfect hit down here. And I was just sort of like, oh, like this. I mean, I could have done stuff, but I ended up, walking around the house and everything. But it was like, you just deal with it. I had 3 accidents with my knee, same knee, in about 2 months, 3 months. And the first time I slipped at a construction site at a school, and my knee, I went down and my knee hit concrete that had not been flattened. It was all rugged and rough, very painful. And I ended up grabbing my knee and laying on my back, holding my knee in agony, absolute agony. And when it happens to me, I just tell myself, I just say, this is going to go, just go with it. It'll be gone in a few seconds or a minute or so. And then just wait, it's going to go. And I know it's going to go. So I live with that, and I just sort of hang on to that thought. So if you're going to do something, like you're going to put your hand through flames to grab someone or help them, you say, well, this has to be done. It's going to hurt. But what I'm doing, and it's going to be much better. If that guy had hesitated to pull his daughter out of that flame, his daughter would have been blind for the rest of her life, would have had severe lung damage and all sorts. And he just reached in and grabbed it. He ended up with burnt arms from his fingertips right down to his elbows for quite a while. But he wouldn't have ever given up, the opportunity to do what he did. And this is the thing about pain. Sometimes you just have to deal with it and get past it and move on to the next thing. But you'll never regret it, because these moments when you have to do these things, or these moments. Another thing, when I'm out cycling, if I got severe, a drop of thigh, I used to do a lot when I was a teenager, and I'd drop a thigh muscle, and I'd just pedal all the way back on it. Even though it hurt all the way, I'd just keep pedaling on it. Whereas other people would have got someone to come and pick them up and stuff. I just didn't, or get off their bike and limped back and things like that. I've never been one to think, okay, I've hurt myself, I have to stop, I have to give up. Henry Ford went into hospital for his appendix. On the third day, he said to the doctor, he said, I'm going out. And the doctor said, no, you have to stay in here for 7 days. This is how it's always been done. It's 1950s, I think, 1940s. And so when the doctor went out, Ford got his clothes on, went to the factory and carried on working. And from that, nowadays you stay in 3-4 days for an appendix. You recuperate at home instead of in the hospital. But back then you recuperated in the hospital. So even though he was in pain while he was out of the hospital, he preferred to do something rather than stay in bed and not be in pain and just rest. You see what I'm getting at? Sometimes it just has to happen. And it's like, you may be scared of pain. You have a car accident, you break your leg. You have no choice but to deal with that pain. And it's like being bullied. I remember being small and bigger kids beating me up and punching me and giving me a hiding. I was always too scared to fight back. I thought if I fought back, it was going to be worse. Other times I found out that I just said to myself, they're going to hit you anyway. You might as well punch them 2-3 times and get a few punches in before they do, and maybe they'll back off. You've got more chance of them backing off. You're going to get hurt anyway. So you might as well do something to try and stop them hitting you, sort of thing. It might work, it might not, but you've got to try. And it's when you don't try, it's when you don't do anything in life, and when you're scared and you're afraid, life never gets better. It just stays the same way it is. So I just had this feeling to pass that on, and hopefully it helps somebody. Pain it's a natural part of life. You are going to feel pain. And you might avoid pain for the next 5 years to do something really good, and then you have an accident, break your leg. You've got no choice to be in pain. So you might as well get through the things that you need to get through. And that's 5-6 years of going without or missing out or being unhappy. That won't happen. Be brave. Everyone can do it. The past is past, let the past go. Move forward with courage. And if you've got to go through things, go through them. It's for your best. And you're the winner in the end. Okay? God bless you. Have a good day.